Hi guys, it's me, the Pecan Tan Beauty, and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a highly requested video on how I store my bags. So I thought that I would just do a quick video on how I store my bags and some of the steps that I take when storing my bags and maintaining their beauty. So 99.999% of my collection, you guys, are Dooney Bourke, and I have various types of leathers, from Florentine leather to coated cotton to pebbled leather, Saffiano leather, Toledo leather. So each of these bags require special care, and for me, they also require special storage as far as how I like to maintain my bags. So the first thing that I do, and you guys know that Dooney Bourke does not require any creams or polishes or conditioners on their bags, but me personally, I feel that my bags need to be conditioned because it's skin, you guys, and just like human skin, the bags, the leather will dry out. If it's not properly moisturized, it will over time ruin your bags. For me, my bags are investment bags, and I would not want to ruin them by not properly maintaining them. Before I get started, I wanted to share with you two of my absolute favorite bags this season, and they are the Dooney Bourke Florentine leather Buckley bags, and this is the color mushroom, and this is the color marine. Gorgeous bags, you guys. They have become two of my very favorite bags. Let me just give you a close-up of the mushroom. Gorgeous, you guys. Absolutely gorgeous. Pretty much true to color here. That's the mushroom. And then here is the marine blue. It's coming off black on camera, but this is a true deep marine blue. Both bags has nice leather, very smooth all the way around. Two of my very favorite bags. This is the bag that I'm going to be using for demonstration today, and this is again one of my very favorite bags, and this is also a Dooney Bourke Florentine leather Buckley satchel. Gorgeous bag. It's a drawstring. It can be carried as a tote, can be carried by the shoulder. Love this bag. Very nice neutral color. So if you guys are interested in a review on the Buckley bags, give me a thumbs up and I will try to put together a review. I know there are a couple other reviews out there, but hey, sometimes you just like to see it from different people. So again, if you would like to see a review on these beautiful bags, give me a thumbs up and I will get that put together very soon. So what I do, and you guys have seen this before, is I use the Apple brand Care leather conditioner. Very good conditioner. I've been using this conditioner for about a year, and I have not had any trouble at all with this conditioner damaging or making my bags oily or ruining my bags at all. So this is my #1 go-to maintenance tool for helping to maintain my bags. Along with this, I use just a simple microfiber cloth. Doesn't have to be anything special. And these are ones that I just picked up from the dollar store, and they are just microfiber washcloths. And it's 90% cotton and then 10% nylon. They won't scratch your bags as far as what I have experienced. They're great for polishing and buffing, and even for applying the conditioner on your bags. So you guys, I used to live about 4,000 miles away, and the temperature there was always rainy, it was always wet, and we didn't get much sunshine. But where I am now, 4,000 miles on the other side, I get lots of sun. I'd say about 80% of the year. It's averaging 80-degree weathers. The sun is always shining. And again, just like our skin, we have to put something on it to protect it, something to keep it moisturized, something to keep it looking luminous and healthy. And that's the same treatment that I like to give my bags. So the first thing I want to share with you is the first step that I normally take when storing my bag. The first step is I condition it with my Apple brand conditioner. When I lived in cooler temperatures, I used to get away with conditioning my bags about once or twice a year, but now living in more humid and the temperatures are a little bit warmer, I find that I'm having to condition my bags about every 3 to 4 months. So what I do is I have a rotation system. So what I do is I may condition 4 bags this month, and then the next month I'll condition 4 more bags, and then 4 more bags, and then on and so on and so on. And eventually, after about 6 months, I'll get back around to the first set of bags that I conditioned. And normally what I do is I do a spot check, and if the bags need conditioning, if I see it looking a little bit dry, or if I see any potential of any cracking in the future, those bags are the ones that I will pull out and condition. So each time I rotate my bags around, I don't necessarily condition them if they don't need it. So I only condition if needed. So that's the first thing I do, is I check the condition of the bag to see if it possibly needs conditioning, and if so, I use my Apple brand conditioner and I apply it with my soft cloth. I let it dry for about an hour to 2 hours, and then I go back through with a clean, dry cloth, and then I buff it. And what that does is it gives it a beautiful, beautiful shine. It's just so relaxing, and it's just so rejuvenating just to see your bags just come to life right before your eyes. So again, the first thing that I do is I check to see if the bag has any dry spots and may need some conditioning. I always condition the handles and also where the handles attach, and I'll show you guys that later further in the video once we get into the bags. So another thing that I do is I always turn my rings and check my rings just to make sure that there's no tarnishing or anything going on just from sitting, because a lot of my bags I may not carry for months, and though I rotate bags almost every single day, there is still bags that I don't carry very often. So I just want to make sure that they are staying in the best condition possible, and they're very, very easy to rotate. And if I have bags like this, which is a drawstring bag, sometimes when they're stored, the leather can kind of stick together. So what I do is I just pretty much move these around just to make sure that they aren't getting stuck, because if they get stuck, they will create dents in your leather where you had to pretty much pry it to get it to loosen up a little bit. So that's another thing I do. And I also check the condition of the leather on the handles, because they can become a little bit dry, as well as this piece of leather here that has that fold in it. It can also get very dry and start to crack. So that's one of the number one things that I check for on the leather when storing my bags. Sometimes the strap as well can get a little dry. 9 times out of 10, I always condition any of the handle leather or the tassel leather, the strap leather. I pretty much always condition that part. And the other part that I pay very close attention to is around the opening of the bag, because that part can get very dry as well. And it's also where it creases and folds a lot. So I want to make sure that that top rim portion is staying as moisturized as possible. You also want to make sure that the corners of your bag are nicely moisturized, because you don't want to create any cracking on the corners. So the corners are also another absolute must that I do when conditioning my bag. So you guys are going to think that I am absolutely OCD when it comes to stuffing my bags. I used to just put a whole bunch of paper in maybe like a Walmart bag or a Walgreens bag and then just stuff it in the bag. But then I found that that wasn't the best way for me, especially, again, a lot of my bags I do not carry very often. So they're sitting in the bag in one spot for months at a time. So I want to make sure that they are staying as structured as possible. I don't like to have any creases or any wrinkles or anything, you guys. I even get down to the point of where I like the zipper to be nice and straight going across. So it's very tedious, it's very time consuming, but then again, your bags maintain their shape and all their beauty. So to me, putting the extra 2 or 3 minutes into stuffing your bags properly and taking the time to do it with love, then your bags will continue to look beautiful for years and years to come. So for the stuffing materials that I use like a bubble wrap. And these I get from work whenever we get office supplies and stuff. And anytime I see the Office Depot truck, I follow the boxes and I always pull these out and ask the guys to save me these because I use them for my bags. And then I also use any type of papers that the bags already come stuffed with. And these I predominantly use to stuff my corners. The corners are my #1 priority when stuffing my bag. So what I do first is I put paper in here like this. And there is no rhyme or reason when I'm first putting it in here. Do you see here how it has that crease right there? And I carried this bag today, so that's why it doesn't look like it has any structure to it. But what I do is this crease here, I take my paper, I just stuff it until it knocks that wrinkle out. And then the same goes for the other side. Just stuff it until the wrinkle goes away. Okay guys, so this is how she looks after she's all stuffed. So again, I make sure all of my corners are nicely stuffed with really no room here for any gaping or indentations. And again, it takes a little bit of time, but at the end of the day, I think that it is totally worth it. And then this is how she looks on the inside. Again, I don't stuff it to be beautiful. I stuff it for protection, and I also stuff it for longevity. Okay, so now she's ready for her dust bag. Okay guys, so again, you guys are going to think that I am totally anal, because what I do is I always want to make sure that the front of my bag is facing the front of the dust bag. So what I mean is, this is the front of my bag, this is where my little logo is, and so I want to sit her nicely on the front. And then I also like to make sure that the center of the bottom of the bag is in the center of the dust bag. You can see here is the center of the dust bag where this line is here. And then this is pretty much the center of my bag. See, I told you guys I was a little bit overboard with this whole stuffing thing. But there is a reason for my madness. So once in the dust bag, you guys, there are a couple of other things that I like to do before closing and sealing the deal. The first one is I always like to make sure that my handle, if the bag has a handle, I like to make sure that the handle is on the inside of the bag, like this. Okay, and the reason for that is, again, I live in an area where the temperatures are hot, the sun is always out, and the reason why I tuck them in is because if for some reason the bag gets too much sun exposure and the handle is laying on the outside of the bag, especially if you have a bag that will patina a little bit, such as this color, which is chestnut, and especially the natural, which will patina over time once it gets exposed to the sun and oils and any type of natural lighting, it will patina. So I would not want this line here, kind of like a suntan. When we have on a tank top or something or a bathing suit and we suntan, we have that line. Once we take those items of clothing off, we have that line. The same goes for these bags. So that's why I always make sure that I tuck my handle on the inside. Another thing that I do is I make sure that the handles are also tucked inside. Because again, if you have those handles laying on the outside of your bag and it's exposed to natural sunlight, it will patina and you will see that little horseshoe loop around once you decide to take your bag out, and it'll be a lighter spot, a suntan spot there. So I always want to make sure that I put my handles on the inside as well. And finally, if a bag has these tassels, I used to tie my tassels up. For some reason, I don't have that many problems with tassels, and I didn't like how it used to leave that little ring around there. So I have another way of doing my tassels, which I take a piece of paper and wrap it around there and put tape on it. If I store them right, I don't have problems with tassels flying away. So I always make sure that my tassels are laying flat in the bag on both sides. Normally I would just store it like this. I tie it up and then I just store it like this. But recently I was inspired by another Dooneyista who does tags for her bags to be able to identify them. Because you guys, like I said, I switch bags pretty much every single day. And for me, every single day or every night, whenever I'm trying to get my bag out for the next day, I have to fumble through all of these bags and tie them back up and fumble through the next one, tie it back up, and it just gets so exhausting. So I was inspired by a Dooneyista to do some little tags, and this is kind of what I came up with. It was very simple, very inexpensive, and also very, very helpful. So what I came up with were just these little tags. So like I said, it's very, very simple. What I did is I used photo paper, a very high grade photo paper. So I just pretty much did it from my home computer. I opened up a Word document and I Googled Dooney Bourke, and then I came up with the text logo here, and then I copy and pasted a stock photo of my bag. Here I just put a brief description of what the bag is, and this is just the Florentine Buckley in the color chestnut. Very simple. And then what I did is I just took a hole punch and then I just punched a hole in it, just large enough for it to fit through the string. Then what I do is I put the string through the hole, and then I just drag down my picture, and then I loosely tie the bag. I don't tie them extremely tight, and I just make a nice little tie, and then here's my bag, and it's ready to store. So at night or in the morning when I'm looking for my bag for the next day or for that evening, it's easy identifiable. So here's one. Here are just some of the others that I have. This one here is the Dooney Bourke Florentine Satchel in the color Natural. So this one I actually had to put in standing up because I don't know why Dooney Bourke gives you these small dust bags that don't fit the width of the bag. So as you can see, she does not have the strap on. Again, this is a very, very finicky color, so I don't want any boo-boos with this one. And even when it comes to the flap on this one, I store it with the flap up. That way, if it does get exposure to the sun, it won't have this whole part under here lighter than the rest of the bag. So I just want an even patina all the way throughout the bag. So that's how I store this one. Very, very careful with this color. And again, you guys, this bag, if it's stored like this with the handles down or any part of the strap anywhere and it gets exposure to sun, you are going to have a suntan line going around here whenever you lift your bag up. So that's why I take the extra time to make sure that my bags are stored carefully to keep my bags looking beautiful. Okay guys, so I want to end the video with another request that I received from one of my wonderful subscribers. She wanted me to go over some of the different types of bag organizers that I use, so I thought that I would include that in this video as well. So the first bag organizer that I started with is the Purses to Go bag organizer. As you can see, this one is very unstructured. It's very flimsy, really no structure to it at all. This organizer has 8 pockets on the inside. And it has no pockets on the outside. And I purchased this one from Purses to Go about a couple years ago. And back then, I think it was maybe $29.95 or $32.95, something like that. I like this organizer, but it's not one of my favorites. If you're looking for an organizer to give your bag some structure, this is definitely not it. This organizer, like I said, is very flexible, very flimsy. If you have a bag like a Florentine satchel or one like this, like an O-ring hobo type bag that you want structure to, this is probably not the best organizer for you. Okay, my next organizer is one that I purchased from eBay. I purchased a couple of these, and this is very inexpensive, very functional, a very good organizer. These go from about $3 to about $8. It just depends on the seller. So I think I paid maybe like $3.45 or $3.49 for these, and I have it in the pink to go with my bags that have that pink gingham lining on the inside. I also have a red one that goes with most of my bags. Most of the Dooney Bourke bags have the red interior, so it matches perfectly. This organizer has 2 side pockets, 2 side zip pockets. Very nice size. Very nice size opening. It has handles where you can easily lift it in and out of your bag. It has several pockets on the outside. It has some smaller pockets on the outside here, and then some larger pockets on the inside. And on the other side, it also has some slip pockets here, and then it has 2 large pockets here on the outside. It also has on the sides where you can adjust it if you need to by a snap. If you want it a little bit narrower, you just snap it. And then if you want it to be a little bit more expandable, you can just leave it unsnapped. Here's the bottom. This is one of my favorite organizers. Though it's not very structured, it's not as flimsy as the Purses to Go. This organizer actually works in most bags. It fits perfectly in the Florentine satchel and most other small to medium bags. So this one is actually called a bag in a bag. And the third organizer that I have is this one here from the Cube, and I can't quite think of the name right now, but I will put it in the description box. This organizer goes for about $25, and this one is a very, very structured organizer. It has a hard base. This part here is very structured. So I don't know if it has cardboard in it or some type of hard plastic on the inside, but very structured. And this would fit perfectly in a hobo bag or a small Florentine satchel. It's just absolutely perfect for those size bags. It has handles where you can easily grab and go. It has 3 large pockets on one side, 2 large pockets on the other. It also has a zipper here where you can secure items if you need to. It also has 2 pockets on either side. So let me just show you just a quick demonstration on how these organizers fit in a medium-sized bag. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use my small Florentine satchel. So the first one that I'm going to start with is this one, which is the more structured organizer. Okay. Fits in nice and easy, and it lays nice and flat without force. So this is how this fits. And you still have plenty of room. So this is the perfect fit. Comes out very nice and easy. Okay, the next organizer that I'm going to demonstrate is going to be the bag in the bag. So this one, I just put it in sideways. Very nice and easy to go in. It's kind of dark in there because the liner of the organizer is gray. It's a dark gray. But at least you can see how it fits in. It pretty much fills the whole bag. Comes out nice and easy. So now let's try the purses to go. And this is the jumbo size, you guys, so it's gonna be a large one. But as you can see, there's lots of crinkles going on here. So it's a little bit too large, but if you were to get the large size, I think you'll be perfect. Because this one is the extra jumbo, which as you can see, it is a bit large for this bag. Okay, so those are the 3 basic organizers that I use. This is the bag in the bag. This one, I will put the link in the description box for the name, and then also the purses to go. I just recently gone away from bag organizers, so now I just use cosmetic cases and wallets and wristlets and things like that inside of my bag versus using a bag organizer. For me personally, it just looks a lot cleaner, it looks a lot neater, and it's just something that I wanted to try, and for now I'm liking that look. And I will also insert some pictures just to show you guys what I'm talking about and how I have gone from using a bag organizer to using more accessories to organize my bag. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on how I maintain my bags. But as far as how I store the bags regarding storage space and stuff like that, I don't. To be honest, I don't. As you guys know, to be able to properly store these bags, you need lots of space because you don't want them jammed on top of each other. You want to be able to have enough space, but if you are a Dooney-nista like I am, there is never enough space. I don't care if you have 1 Dooney or if you have 70 Dooneys. Space is always going to be an issue when storing these beautiful bags. You want to make sure that they maintain their shape and their structure and their beauty and all of that good stuff. So again, some of the things that I do to maintain and store my bags are: number 1, I condition with my Apple brand leather conditioner, and I always follow up with a cloth to buff it to a nice beautiful shine, and to also help to get rid of any excess conditioner that you may have left on the bag. Number 2 is I always tuck my handles in the bag to make sure that it doesn't create a suntan line if it's exposed to the sun. I always make sure that my handles are up or tucked in. 9 times out of 10, always condition my handles, my strap, and also the leather portions of where the handles or the straps are attached, because those get the most driest, they have the most give to them, so you want to make sure that you're conditioning that part to avoid any cracking. I also make sure that my tassels are laid flat, and if you'd like to, you can rubber band yours or paper band yours or however you want to do it. But for me, I just make sure that they're carefully placed in the bag, and also I make sure that I turn my rings, those little O-rings on the bag, to avoid any type of tarnishing from being left in one spot for so long. I don't have any of my bags that have done that so far. Even some of the older bags that I have, that I've had for years, that I don't carry very often, but I have not had any trouble with tarnishing. But that's just one thing, because I have seen some of the Dooney bags do that before from other Doonieistas. So that was just one thing that I wanted to add into my maintenance routine, just to eliminate that in the future. And then lastly, I just carefully put my bags in the dust bag, and then also I use my little labels that I have to help me easily identify my bags when I'm looking for my next beauty for the next day. So anyway guys, I hope that you found this video helpful, and again, these are ways on how I maintain my bags, how I store my bags, and just some of the tips that I've used and learned over the years that I have found very helpful for me. So I hope these tips were helpful, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys.